Like many fans, I started my journey with A Song of Ice and Fire through the television show Game of Thrones. I was a little late on the trend and I only began in 2022. I was recovering from surgery, and during the month I was in bed, I just was captivated by the world of Westeros and Essos, by characters who seemed so real, where moments where the littlest people cast shadows as tall as kings, and those in the greatest positions were of the smallest of character. Once I finished the show, though, I immediately started on the books because I needed more. I listened to the audiobooks narrated by Roy Dotrice, spending hours of my day immersed in the worlds of Westeros. I would watch the YouTube videos by Glidus and AltShiftX to hear the theories on Jon Snow's birth, on who Bloodraven was, and of course, when the Winds of Winter was coming. Last year, when there were rumors of the book coming out, I read all the books again and inhaled the first book in one day while I was at the airport. And I think it's fair to say that I really like these books and they're pretty excellent, which makes it hard to accept the fact that we're probably never going to get another entries in the series at all. George R.R. Martin is an old man, and he's got a lack of motivation, a lack of inspiration, a disinterest in finishing the rest of his series, or he's captured by his audience in a never-ending cycle of unhappiness on both sides. But whatever it is, the Winds of Winter will likely never come out. I wanted to make this video to throw in my 2 cents and provide some context from my perspective on why I think George R.R. Martin has his right to not finish the series, despite how much I would like him to. I want to draw on an example that many of you are likely familiar with, and that is Star Wars. I remember as a kid riding in the car with my family who were all really big Star Wars heads, discussing the headlines of Disney buying out Star Wars in the early 2010s and wiping the canon away. I had grown up reading the books. Here they are, The New Jedi Order, my favorites, the Thrawn trilogy. I read through the Yuuzhan Vong, which was unpopular at the time, but to watch it all go was heartbreaking. I was excited to see what Disney would bring to the table, but I was not happy about seeing it gone. But it was a good time to be a Star Wars fan. Take, for example, The Force Awakens. When it was released, it was lauded by critics and audiences alike as a return to form after the prequels. I think we're also blinded by the newness that we didn't realize that we had gotten A New Hope with a haircut. And if we did, we didn't care. Star Wars was back. But then the public perception changes. The Last Jedi comes out, and it subverted our expectations as audience members. We expected Luke Skywalker to come out and be a badass, kick some stormtrooper ass, and instead he drank milk and he cried on an island. And to be honest, I actually quite like the idea of this plotline. I'm a huge fan of the Knights of the Old Republic 2, and one of the main characters of the game, Kreia, advocates for a death of not just the Jedi, but the Force itself. So the idea is not exactly new to the franchise, and it's very interesting and fresh if it's done correctly.
It is said that the Force has a will. It has a destiny for us all. I wield it, but it uses us all, and that is abhorrent to me, because I hate the Force. I hate that it seems to have a will, that it would control us to achieve some measure of balance when countless lives are lost. But in you, I see the potential to see the Force die, to turn away from its will, and that is what pleases me.
Unfortunately, it was just a waste of time, and it basically gave agency and legitimacy to Rey by taking it away from Luke Skywalker. Solo, a Star Wars story, was a bomb, despite it being exactly what the Star Wars fans were asking for, a swashbuckling Han Solo movie in space, the Kessel Run, Chewbacca, the Millennium Falcon, but it was pimped out by Lando. It had some good moments, but it wasn't the greatest movie. It was just average, and I don't think it deserved the backlash it received. Think of the fan service moment of Darth Maul at the end. Why does this work in the Clone Wars, where it makes even less sense for a legless Darth Maul with a robot spider abdomen to be running around on a junkyard planet, but it doesn't in Solo? There's just no room left for mediocrity or even averageness. A 7 out of 10 is a failing score by most metrics and is the benchmark for online reviews. Just look at IGN. Well, they'll throw a 7 out of 10 on just about anything that pays them enough to showcase it on their channel. If you've given the audience what it wants, there's always someone in the background crying louder that something is different. Rogue One ruined Star Wars, Jedi Knight, and Kyle Katarn. The Rise of Skywalker ruined the prophecy of the Chosen One and Anakin Skywalker. The through line of this is the constant need for more content and being disappointed when it comes. We exist in a world where media consumes us and not the other way around. We use apps that serve the content we want to see for us, never having to think about using the search bar for what we want. It's on our For You pages. Why would we go anywhere else? Digital advertising experts also know how to leverage your purchasing habits to serve you an ad at the right time. I would know. I've been in the digital marketing industry for years. Not to mention we're on our phones every day, all the time, using instant gratification through these apps, further conditioning us to expect more, and more. It's the reason why franchises make more money than original movies nowadays. Have you seen the box office numbers? The only original movie worth its medal in the box office is Sinners, but even then, movies like Thunderbolt, Captain America Brave New World, and How to Train Your Dragon as the newest example are wins off of previously established properties and all bringing home returns, even if no one likes them. Why is Illumination making a new Shrek? Why are we getting another Superman, another Wonder Woman? Why are we conditioned to only consume what is comfortable and familiar, and as long as it continues coming, we will keep watching? Why do people like the critical drinker online continue to watch Star Wars just to complain about it? Why do people watch 4.5 hours of criticism of Bethesda's Starfield? Again, mediocrity or averageness is no longer tolerable in a media environment where you're served exactly what you want when you want it. It is an attention economy. I learned in digital marketing when you post an ad or make a post itself, you need to hook the viewer in less than 3 seconds. And if they leave, you need to ensure your logo or your branding information is front and center to ensure they remember you even if they do click off the ad. You need it to be perfect or else your click-through rate will be low. Audiences demand perfection even from their ads. So imagine creating something long form and perfect for your audience. And let's not forget, a great majority of folks will never read it and inform their opinions off of someone's video. The main point is to put yourself in the shoes of the creator at the behest of an audience in an economy that is driven on constant consumption. To stop creating content is anathema. You will be left behind by everyone around you. And even if you do create something, it falls short by the expectations set by your audience and you will be bullied. George R.R. Martin has seen this firsthand with his own creations mishandling by David and Dan, who are the showrunners of Game of Thrones. The pressure must be immense, especially with all the plot lines he has going. Did you know A Song of Ice and Fire has over 40 point of view characters? Most of them are dead, sure, but imagine all those loose ends that need to be tied up. Now, someone's favorite character, for example, Asha Greyjoy, didn't get a satisfying ending in the newly released Winds of Winter, and now the fandom goes crazy, even if every other plotline was fantastic. I think this is end-stage audience capture. Content culture and the attention economy leaves no room for anything except perfection and worthlessness on the other side, depending on the viewer's feeling about the topic. I feel like that's why we're so polarized politically, but that's a point for another day. Think of YouTube channels like Rooster Teeth. They tried to make something new, but their ever more fanatical audience demanded perfection, something new, something familiar at the same time. Red versus Blue and RWBY became caricatures of themselves to serve the demands of the audience. It's the same exact with writers, directors, showrunners, and all other people in creative professions trying to create something nowadays in the streaming and social media era. I'm not saying it's not right to be disappointed in not getting a conclusion to your favorite series. I think A Song of Ice and Fire is my favorite book series, but I'm not going to pillory George Martin for not finishing his books. Many painters leave unfinished work that now hang in the museums for everyone to see. Tolkien and Frank Herbert never finished their sagas, yet are both now some of the largest franchises in the world. And besides, would you rather have your series unfinished or left to the hands of Brian Herbert, David and Dan, or George, forcing something out that he isn't happy with just to satisfy the demands of the audience? I think I'm asking to just be kind to George R.R. Martin. And I know that doesn't come in spades online nowadays, but I think we could all use a little kindness in our life.